Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome back to this episode of Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians. And here's another tool that I want you to think about and bring to your awareness that I think many of us don't really think about, even though that's really like the one of the core things that we search for in life, which is inner peace in how to create it. And I often talk to my clients about it because a lot of them want to be in that place of having the inner peace or having it in a sustained form and feeling like they don't really have that and they really want to have it in the most genuine way that they can possibly feel about. And obviously, there could be a lot of discussions about inner peace from philosophical point of view, from different other disciplines. But I really want to be very practical about as to trying to explain my perspective of how I see it and also how you could practically approach it in terms of creating your inner peace, right? So I think that's really what we're looking for is how do we create that inner peace? Is it possible that we can create it ourselves, or it's really something that really depend on our external circumstances? Now, as you know, am a great believer in how we can create most of what we want within the tools that we have already. And that's why I'm proponent of suggesting that you have a look first in your internal world of what is it that is disturbing that peace before you start looking at outside and trying to change anything outside, right? So I was thinking about a lot and also observing my clients tell me as to why or what are the reasons why they can't have that inner peace or what's standing in the way. And also when I ask them, how do you create inner peace? And many of them are puzzled. And that's why I want to address these two topics, right? So one is what is disturbing our inner peace and how do we create it if we wanted to? So, first question is of what is it that is disturbing your inner peace? You can also answer it yourself individually and also hear me say as to what I hear from my clients as to what are the main reasons. And then I will also help you guide you through how you can create and navigate what you want on your own. And if you want, you can also come and coach with me so that we can get you to the place of sustained inner peace. That is what we're many of us are wanting, right? So obviously, inner peace is disturbed, if you think about it, is by our inner conflicts. Also external conflicts, but mostly inner conflicts. And those inner conflicts are generated by our thoughts, but the way that we usually recognize those inner conflicts is through our feelings, because feelings always indicate what's going on. Something is not right, something is up, and I want to find out what it is, or I want to, well, usually our reaction is, I want to get rid of it, but rather I want to suggest you to think about how can we locate all of the feelings that are telling us that something is not right, that we're having that inner conflict. So here are the list of things that I will be telling you about feelings that you look for where it indicates to you what inner conflicts you're having, right? So one of them will be definitely avoiding or suppressing feelings or wanting to suppress something that's coming up, like anger, frustrations, disappointment, resentment, whatever is coming up, and they're maybe wanting to suppress them or avoid them. And those are usual um, uh, like factors that keep creating inner conflict because you're basically battling with yourself, right? So on the one hand, your body is telling you all these things of what's going on within you, and you at the same time trying to suppress it and like think of it like trying to press the ball underneath the water, right? So suppressing feels like that. And that for sure always create inner conflict. So basically, on the one hand, you are trying to express something, on the other, you're the same person who is suppressing all of that's happening. So that is one of the indicators that you can see how the inner conflict is happening. And therefore, you now need to be aware or get curious about what are the reasons or what are the things, what are the thoughts that you're trying to basically put it under the rug and pretend that it's not there, or trying to not think about it or solve for it at this current moment. So that's one of the major reasons that we create inner conflicts within ourselves. Therefore, we don't have that peace that we're wanting. Another major area that creates inner conflict or the worry or the struggle, that is the worry feeling, right? The worry feeling of you're worried about the future, you're worried about the money, you're worried about your children, you're worried about the past, or whatever the thing that is that you are making it worry is always also creating a disturbance of that inner peace, right? So maybe you're worried about the opinions of others, you're worried about the opinion of your supervisor, your colleague. So whoever you are worried about, or about your own abilities, which is also like, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not good at this, I am supposed to know this by now and I don't. All of this worry is causing inner peace, disturbing inner peace as well. Right. So I have mentioned two so far. And the third one that I see a lot that is happening, which is regret of the past. Regret of the past, or something that we think that we have missed out, or the feeling of that we're going to miss out, or the feeling of this is not how it's supposed to be. It should have been this way or that way, and it's not. And staying in that regret is also going to rob us from being in the current present, and therefore us not feeling grounded, us not feeling peaceful and settled in what it is, and accepting what it is also one of the major causes of inner peace. Another one that is, I think this is the fourth one, right? The fourth one that I keep hearing a lot of how it also disturbs inner peace is resentment. And I was thinking, I was discussing actually with one of my clients of how he was telling me that resentment feels like a poison that you just put it inside you, and then you're wondering why you're feeling this way. You're wondering why you're feeling this way of not really being where you want to be, not really liking other people, not really like feeling like they should have done this for me, or they should do this for me, or I'm doing all the things, right? So all kinds of like bitterness or resentment, I think, is the feeling of that he was telling me that it's like a poison that we just inject in ourselves voluntarily, and then we are surprised how we're not really feeling great, right? So I thought that was a very interesting description of resentment. So resentment, bitterness, I think those are the feelings that also you need to look out for, which are all coming from the thought of I shouldn't be doing this on my own, or I shouldn't be doing this, but I am doing it. Like some type of feeling like victimy, feeling like others are not doing their part, or others not doing the way that I want to. So this is definitely leading to conflict. And the fifth one that I want you to think about that you can also notice is the part about how we beat ourselves up, right? So the part about how we're not satisfied with who we are or how we do things, and how we're making mistakes, and we're like always trying to like beat ourselves with a stick or whatever. Like I don't know how the English expression, but you know what I mean, right? So this is again another way where we are like disturbing the inner peace. So much so that we're now afraid of ourselves a bit. We're like, we don't want to pursue that goal, because if we pursue that goal, then we will be beating ourselves up for not achieving it or having failures. And therefore, we just stay where we are, and therefore, we're afraid of us. And we're like, we keep hiding, and at the same time, being not happy about us feeling like we're hiding. And we're like just creating this lots of cycle of where we don't really feel like peaceful because we're not where we want to be. We're also currently where we don't want to be, and therefore we're like not feeling that peace, right? So obviously, I have mentioned like 5 areas, and all of them um, like can be present in you. And then when I'm saying this, you may be saying, well, then we're all of us doing all of those things. Obviously, then we will never get peace because we will never be able to resolve any of them, or it's so hard, or it's not possible. So therefore, we may as well just give up on seeking inner peace, right? So if you have that reaction, I totally understand what you mean. And the goal is not to have peace all of the time, obviously, because we need to have that experience of all those emotions, all of those different emotions to understand what's going on, right? So I want you to think about inner peace is not so much that we're always calm and happy and like loving and just telling everyone how everything is amazing, everyone is amazing. That's not the goal, and that can never happen, and that's not even healthy, right? But the inner peace, the way that I think about it for myself is like our ability to have peace with having all of those emotions being there, knowing where they're coming from, and knowing what to do with them. This is for me is how I think about inner peace is not because I'm freaking about, for instance, oh my God, here is the resentment. Oh my God, here is the, I don't know, like frustration. Here is the regret. And that means that I have no peace. And now I don't know what to do. And I lost my peace and all of these things, like reacting in a panic way to our emotions or reacting in a very negative, like, I don't know what to do kind of an energy. That's not. Um, what is going to create the sustained peace, but rather the peace is when we look at all of these emotions with curiosity, with understanding of this is what my truth is. This is like owning our truth of what's happening and how it's happening. Even if these are not the things that I like, or these are not the things that we want to have or experience, but this is part of our human experience, right? But at the same time, having that peace to know or feeling this peaceful to know that I know what to do about it. I know how to solve it, or I know how to allow it to be there. I know how to work with it. I know that it's part of my experience, part of my journey, and I have peace with it in the sense of I know what to do and I trust my wisdom of what to do, right? So for me, the inner peace is when the intersections of feeling grounded, feeling like feeling the inner knowing, listening to yourself and allowing all of those emotions to be there at the same time, knowing your ability to handle them, to solve them, to decide what to do with them. All of the intersections of those is for me is the inner peace. This is how I perceive it. This is how I think about it. Now, obviously, you need to think for yourself is what is that peace that you're really looking for, right? If it's a peace that you're looking for where you just feel like so peaceful and loving and happy and or like some version of it, maybe you need to question whether you can always have that, because wanting to have that always would mean not really being human, right? Because we're human beings who experience so many different things and we create so many emotions, and that's how it's actually supposed to be. Is we're supposed to be humans who have lots of different emotions on daily basis, and then if we get only one spectrum of emotions most of the time, then we get curious as to why that is. So that's why when you're thinking of creating the inner peace for yourself, think about first, how do you imagine that peace will look like for you within, right? So I described to you how the way that I think about it, or how the way that I feel about it in terms of how I feel that inner peace, and you need to decide or think about for yourself what is it that you're looking for, right? So the way that I was thinking about is that another way of like measuring or thinking for yourself in terms of being very practical is like when I have the deepest trust, when I have um, this lightness at the same time, when I have this knowing at the same time, when I have this being in the presence at the same time, even though I have all this maybe other problems to solve and all the things, but always having those is like the baseline, right? The way that I think about it is like, I don't know if you're familiar with it, is that when you make yogurt in the original form, like my mom used to make, is like from the milk, and then you start fermenting the milk in a particular way, and then you notice that when you make the original yogurt, there's always the baseline that is solid, right? And then on top there is the water that has lots of like different particles, and it can be disturbed, like the the part of the watery, the fluid part on the top can be disturbed in so many different ways. You can like play around with it, but the solid part underneath is quiet. It's like peaceful, right? So the way that I think of my inner peace is like that. Or another way would be like going to a very dense forest, and you see that it's very peaceful, and then like one bird or something jumps, or the animal jumps or runs or whatever, then there is like this like particles flying everywhere, like there is a bit of a disturbance there, but the major part of the forest still is intact. It's like still standing, is still observant of what's happening, but not really like shaken or panicky or any of that, right? So I think of it like inner peace being that way. And that's why I want you to explore for yourself how that is. And also, when you are exploring how that inner peace feels for you, you can also think about how you can create it um, in a short term and also in a long sustained forms, because short temporary ways of inner peace, I think we know how to do that with different exercises of meditation, journaling, or just like being present in our current situation, right? So we can always gain that inner peace in the short temporary form, but I'm more talking about and interested in helping you create that in sustained form of inner peace. And that sustained form of inner peace can only be achieved the way that I see and I have observed with myself and my clients is looking at all of those emotions and seeing their messages of what needs to be done, right? So, excuse me. In other words, having look at that regret, having look at that worry, having look at that suppressed feelings of whatever it's underlying underneath of those suppressed feelings, having look at them and bringing them up to light, so to say, and then just being honest with yourself as to what you want to do with all of them, right? So how do you want to solve, or how do you want to allow, or how do you want to leave it as it is? So just making a decision about all of them will have you that inner peace that you're wanting. And you don't need to do all of them at once as well in order not to overwhelm yourself, but rather do it one at a time if necessary. And then just having a look at, like, it's a bit like also cleaning exercise, I feel, right? Where we start cleaning things and then it just becomes so pristine, so organized, so like peaceful, and then you just want to sit on the ground and just enjoy that moment, that kind of a feeling. So that's why I really want you to think about detecting those emotions, whatever those are that are not giving you the inner peace that you're wanting. In other words, what are the emotions that keep creating that conflict within you, right? And then looking at what those thoughts or beliefs around those feelings that are causing them, and then deciding what to do about them. Do you want to leave them? Do you want to solve them? Do you want to just allow to be there? Do you want to pursue them? Do you want to believe them? Do you want to not believe them? Do you want to change things? Do you want to not change things? So making an active decision around all of them will help you just like owning your truth, deciding what to do, and then feeling that, generating that feeling of peace, feeling of like calm, feeling of this is exactly what I want, feeling of this is how it's supposed to be, this is how I want to, this is how I want to honor myself, this is how I want to honor my feelings, this is how I create my inner peace, and this is how I live my life, basically. So, my dears, I hope that this was helpful for you to think about how you can actually be in charge of creating your inner peace, and instead of keep searching or keep proving or keep like battling with yourself and then feeling like you don't know what to do or how to do it, but rather start getting curious as to what those emotions are telling you, what are the truths behind them, and what you do want to do with that truth, and then deciding to move on to the next thing. So have an amazing weekend, you all. I would love to coach you on any of these topics, so let me know. And I'm just, yeah, looking forward to hearing your story and hearing how you're doing with it and how can I be of service to help you in this. See you very soon. Bye.